has just reached 0 degrees outside and the new units are not working at all. We can't get the Nero or the Polestar to charge. The only thing working is actually the old ABB unit here. So bummer, nothing they can do to get going except use this old one, which we're doing for experiments on the Leaf, but not looking good for the new chargers for reliability. No one can seem to get them going, but at least there's one old school ABB that still rocks. Hello and welcome to a frozen out of spec reviews video. I am here, it is -6 degrees Fahrenheit at the Loveland Electrify America charging station. I guess for all of you Europeans, it's -21, and it's just the start of the night. It's gonna get down to about -30 degrees Celsius tonight, which is actually the maximum or the minimum temperature that this hardware is rated to, this DC fast charging hardware made by BTC Power. I don't know how I'm gonna film this video because my hand's already freezing, but there's a major problem. Earlier today, I was here dropping 2 Leafs off for a little experiment. I wanted to cold soak them at the charger, so I parked them on the backside of the charger, and we're gonna do some cold gate testing, really cold gate testing. But it was a disaster here. There were cars waiting in line, everyone was shuffling, full panic, none of the chargers were working. And I was like, oh no. So we figured out that at least earlier today, all 3 of these brand new charging stations were not working, Electrify America charging stations. So I decided to come back now. It's -6, a few degrees colder than it was earlier, and see maybe it was a fluke with them not knowing how to plug in. I've brought my Rivian. It's preconditioned. Let's see if we can get it charging. So guys, picture this with me. Just want to put you in the scenario so you really get a sense. We're driving along in our Rivian R1T. We're cruising down I-25 here in northern Colorado. It's currently, again, -6 degrees Fahrenheit outside. I'm using the new Rivian snow mode. Keep an eye out for a full video on this review of the snow mode. It's really, really nice for people who don't like to rip around in the snow. Personally, actually, what I tend to use is the off-road rally mode in full stability off, because then you can do full sends and it's absolutely awesome. But we'll go back to snow mode because we're pretending to be normal consumers right now. And we're pulling up to an Electrify America DC fast charger. We're at 28% state of charge. In the cold, we're averaging pretty bad efficiency, 1.3 miles per kilowatt hour here. So we're gonna pull up to a DC fast charger. And that would be, oh great, look, one of these brand new Electrify America installs. They used to all be the ABB units here, but they actually co-developed this new hardware in conjunction with BTC and SK Signet. Our particular installation is a full vertically integrated BTC hardware. They make the dispenser as well as the actual charging unit. We have 3, I believe, 350 kilowatt chargers here. Although they're labeled balanced, I'm pretty sure they're all fed from their own unit. And, you know, it's cold. We want to keep the truck warm. So what I'm going to actually do is set the truck into its show and tell mode, which I wish there was a way to just keep climbing on, but I go here to settings, vehicle, service, show and tell. Little trick for you Rivian owners. And this just keeps the, we'll put lights to parking off. We'll put lighting will work as normal. Show and tell mode on. And then we can go parking lights. Boom, there we go. So that's just a little trick for you to keep your climate running when you step out of the vehicle. And that way you can keep it actually at a hotter temperature than what's deemed safe for pet comfort. That's not the point of today's video though. You pull up, and so we're at charger number 3. You can see the Leafs I parked over here for a little cold gating experiment, which we'll do later. And let's plug in, let's see what happens. I mean, this is the most important thing. All right, well, let's give it a go to see if it plugs and charges, unlike earlier, which wasn't working for anyone. Hopefully just a little bug, but you never know, man. These cables are, holy smokes, these freaking cables. 2 hands. Oh my gosh, I don't even know if I can get this thing in here. Come on, baby, in you go. Plug in, connecting to vehicle. Will it work? Initiating charging. Hey, I think it is. Good. Thank you for choosing Electrify America. Is it charging? Not according to the truck. Oh wait, truck's green. Charging start error. And it says isolation test timeout. So yes, interesting. Yep, truck went red. So I'm gonna try all three of these, but yeah, we definitely something with the isolation test. Could be something frozen in the dispenser would be my guess. That's not allowing it to properly basically make sure that there's no voltage leak, if you will. Very weird. So, okay, that charger isn't working at all. And then I just went to the app to see if I could activate station 2, but it actually says it's in use. It's obviously clearly not plugged into anything. The screen shows that it's available, but I won't be able to activate that one through the app at all. So our only last hope for a fast charge here, again, we need the full 500 amps to this Rivian to get good charging speeds and batteries preconditioned, is to use that charger right there on the end. So let's maneuver over here to this station charger number 4. We've done a lot of videos on this charger number 4. It's worked hard for us. It's charged Hummer EV. In general, these stations have been very reliable in mild temperatures. The problem is it isn't always mild temperatures here, and you don't always drive your electric car when it's mild outside. So let's park here. I'm going to activate station number 4, and let's see if we can get this one going at all. Here we are. I've activated the station from payment. I tend to find that it actually works a little bit better when I pre-activate the station before actually plugging in. That's just how I typically do it. Can I one-hand it? Yes, there we go. Actually, I do like the way the handles are placed for the Rivian. Really not too bad to get in. So now we're connecting the vehicle. Can we go? So this would be really our last shot of getting a fast charge, because again, this one in the app claims it's working, or I should say it's charging another vehicle. This one completely faulted out for us. Here we are. It says, welcome, Kyle. I'm a Pass Plus member. Thank you for choosing Electrify America. Will it work? I hear the same clicks we heard before. The truck says green and charging, and then, oh, come on. You really got to be kidding me. Charging start error, isolation test. What that tells me is that multiple units here are having issues with the isolation test in cold temperatures, because again, I haven't had really any issues with these new units at this location. I've had other issues with the new units at other locations, but I'm really curious to see, are these also having issues with the SK Signet versions of these chargers? And I think I need to actually go on a road trip to go figure that one out. So let's say, like earlier today, I was charging that Leaf on that unit. There was a Polestar here. There was a Nero here. What I actually had to do was unplug the Leaf. I let everyone else charge because those are staying here for a test. And we got the Polestar charging on here. He charged to full. The Nero just waited. And then the Nero pulled in and charged, over 2 hours to full. And you can take a look at my personal vlog for that story. And it was really just a total disaster. And that's just 2 cars. So in my opinion, how can the brand new hardware not be tested to cold temperatures? I don't know how I could ever recommend to you guys to feel confident road tripping one of these things in extreme temperatures with such shitty hardware. It really is just a shame, in my opinion. And yeah, I gotta also tell you, I went over to the Tesla supercharger, not to sound like a Tesla fanboy, but went over to the Tesla supercharger, backed up, plugged in, no issues at all, just ripped on charging right there. So let's go over to the old ABB unit. ABBs are always good in the cold. See if that one's still working like it was earlier. I bet it is. All right, now I have ragged on ABB over the years, over the last year especially, for having very poor hot weather performance. But one thing I would never say about ABB is having poor cold weather performance. These cables though, this is a two-hander, hold on, in we go. These things are very popular in the Nordic countries, and there's a reason for it. Now in Norway, for example, it doesn't actually get as cold as it is right now regularly, unless you're way north. Here we are initiating charging, clicking, and yeah, but like in Finland, we were just there, it was minus 15 degrees Fahrenheit, so colder than it is now. Not as cold as it will be in a few hours. But a bit of a shame that none of the new units will activate at all, and they all show as available on the screen. They all show as stationed up in the app. I'm sure EA is reporting them as fully available charging stations according to whatever they need to report their uptime to, the automakers they're selling deals to. Man, totally crazy. I think we should actually go and stress test some more chargers in this video. I think, you know what, it's 1 in the morning. We should go on a trip to Denver and we should go see if they're also having issues with other types of chargers. But here we are charging 137 kilowatts, no issues at all. I say we go on a road trip and we see if this is a unique problem to the brand new hardware that Electrify America assured me would be reliable because they co-developed it with SK Signet and BTC. Again, this particular installation only BTC. I think the one in in Lakewood on the west side of Denver is actually an SK Signet site. We should go over there and try that out. So here we are, juicing up, no problems at all. It's a 150 kilowatt charger and it's giving 141 kilowatts. Look, that's the ABB way, baby. Always work in the cold. All right, I guess we'll juice it up enough and we're going on a road trip to Denver. I don't know what else to do. I don't want to say, hey, these just suck and everything else works, but the only way I can try and give you a balanced review is to actually go and try a whole bunch of chargers. So that's what we're going to be doing right now. I'm telling you, these old ABBs, they love the cold, rocking along 165 kilowatts right now, just pegged to the maximum this charger can give us. So no complaints there. We are going to just make a 54-mile drive down to Colorado Mills Mall in Denver. I've heard I-25 could be a little bit sketchy, so I'm made sure we have a lot of extra buffer, in case the roadway closes down, which it has been going on and off because of conditions, but the snow has stopped by now and it's now after commuting time, so I think it's better time to drive. No one's really on the road, at least on the way over here was empty, and it gives us plenty of options as there's some EVgo stations in the area and other EAs that use the Signet chargers. So I think we're good to go with plenty of buffer, totally safe, plenty of chargers along the way if needed, as long as they're not those, because right now I'm not going to count on those to get us anywhere in these cold temperatures. Let's end the charging session and head off to Denver to do some research, because if all chargers are broken, that's a different story than just those chargers are broken. But I have a hard time believing any of the other ones. Oh, this cable's nice and flexible now that it's warm. I have a hard time believing that those are among others that are broken. I think that's a specific problem with the new EA chargers that, I hate to say it, but I don't really think they did enough cold weather testing on them, which could be a huge disaster. I know I play it up, but it's a big disaster that these are going to be installed in probably Canada and the US. And we get cold temps, folks. Let's go drive to Denver. And here we are exiting south to Denver onto I-25. I should also mention to you that I am, of course, on Nokian Hakkapeliitta SUV tires on the Rivian R1T, and I have the studded ones. The studded ones won't help us really in these conditions because there's not much ice, but in a couple days when we get ice, those things will be coming in clutch. And you know me, huge fan of Nokian tires. They support us, we support them, and they're just the best winter tires out there. I've driven on all of them, the Michelin stuff, the Blizzak stuff, and yeah, I'm a Nokian tire nerd. I love their tires. So let's just blow through this snow, no problem. Rivian snow mode working great. And yeah, actually the road looks pretty good, not bad at all. So let's just hammer it. Looks like we can carry some speed, and wow, that's a way better situation than what I was actually expecting before. So onwards to Denver. If I can see through the windshield washer is frozen on the Rivian. All right, let's just hammer down. Quick stop over at one of the best places on the freaking planet. We are at Love's. By the way, fuel is only $2.20 a gallon here for regular. You've got to be kidding me. What is the reason to drive an electric car if you can get fuel so cheap? Wow, they have a lot of handicapped spaces, but this one looks like it's not. Wow, these Nokian tires are awesome. You can just send it everywhere on these things too. So let's just run in, get some Red Bulls. It's gonna be a long night of trying to figure out why I'm not even trying to figure out why they're not working. I'm trying to figure out if other chargers have the same problems. Just so I am giving you balanced reporting. Seems like a lot of effort for something no one really cares about, because less than 2% of people drive electric cars. Certainly no one's going to be driving more if this is the thing we have to deal with. Let's go get some snacks. And here we are rolling up to the charging station. That guy's plowing. We're just going to go the wrong way around the roundabout. Rules don't apply when it's snowing, right? Take a look. There's a Tesla charging over here. Huge supercharging installation, of course, and a nice Model 3. So there's the EA units. And what's interesting is, very similar to our station, they left the old ABB unit for the CHAdeMO. They're not necessarily adding any more CHAdeMOs outside of California, but they're not removing any, which is nice. However, this one may as well be removed because it's been broken and offline for months now. Just, you can see it right there. Yep, still offline. How about that? Totally insane. The last time I was here, this new unit was actually completely offline as well. So I don't know, let's just pick a random one. Doesn't really matter. And we'll start seeing if they have an issue or not. I want to make sure, see who manufactures these things first. So let's put it in park. We got two right here we can try. So let's do that. Let's go here to settings, vehicle, service, show and tell, turn on. Great parking lights, so they're not as bright outside. And let's do a little bit of research. Try plugging in. Wow, this thing's a freaking snowmobile. So good in the snow. So these are actually full BTC units then. I don't believe this is a Signet installation. I believe BTC manufactures all of the dispensers, the ones that ETEL designed, but typically the Signet ones say SK Signet on them. Anyway, let's try this charger number 2. It's as good as any. We're right here. Activated the station in the app, no problem at all. Yeah, says available and all good, so let's hope that's accurate. Come on, in you go. Connected, great. Latch just went in, connecting the vehicle. It's going to start the handshake process, and I don't know what to expect. I'm kind of expecting the same fault, but I hate to be so pessimistic. Let's see. Welcome, Kyle. Very good. Thank you for choosing Electrify America. Truck should go green. It's always gone green. Contactors went. Start of the isolation check would be my guess. There we go. Are we gonna work? Green, and oh, no freaking way, it doesn't work. You've got to be kidding me. So it's not a station situation. It is all, should I just go through and try all of these for good measure? I don't want to waste that much time. And here goes the Model 3 that just happily charged up on the supercharger network because it just works. I hate to be that guy. Superchargers just work. I just plugged my Tesla into a supercharger earlier today. Just worked. And none of the new units. Are you freaking kidding me? So we're hosed. We're totally hosed. Totally hosed. You can't drive an electric car right now. I got to report it on PlugShare. That's crazy. Holy smokes, wrangling that cable into this truck was crazy. I just pulled around the other side and oh my God, isolation test timeout. So they're just all failing. Crazy. I went on PlugShare as well to report the station. Turns out I didn't have to. Unfortunately, an Audi e-tron owner had been road tripping through, again, a premium Volkswagen Group product, charging on a Volkswagen Group, essentially, charger. He said he tried every single charger here. They all failed. Same isolation error. He had to grab a hotel. He's not sure how he's going to be able to leave the area, relying on Electrify America because, well, he's hosed. None of the new units work. Crazy. So I guess he found a hotel with a level 2. Good luck to that guy. Damn. So, okay, don't need to try all the ones. The guy in the e-tron said he tried all of them. They don't work. I just tried these 2. I wouldn't expect different results. So that sucks. I don't know what to say other than I guess we can't take any winter road trips unless they fix this issue. And if they do, they can comment on a video. This is crazy. Totally insane. But just to make sure it's not like a fluke, let's go try out some other station manufacturers. Because again, at the end of the day, Electrify America is the network operator. BTC is the hardware provider in this case. But again, Electrify America claim they co-developed this, so they deserve the blame here. This is mind-blowing. You literally cannot take a road trip right now to any station with the new chargers. The whole country's freezing. Insane. Let's go try some other stations just to see if this is a unique problem to these. We already know ABB works in the cold, except for that one because it's offline. Let's go try EVgo Delta, Signet. Let's try EA's Signet and a ChargePoint CPE 250. We'll just kind of hammer those out all around in the area, and then I'm going to run up and go to bed. But this is truly insane. Well, we are heading out. Good thing we left some buffer in here, 25%. Should be just enough to get back if we needed to, but we'll find a charger around here. I'm sure that works. 1.4 miles per kilowatt hour. Not great, but considering we've been plowing snow the whole time and it's really quite chilly out there, -8, then yeah. Well, look at this installation. I just checked the Tesla app. All of them showing as available. I guess EA is showing all as available in their app. That's the crazy thing. So one important metric, not to get into too much of the business side of DC fast chargers, but important metric from a government influence standpoint, but also a free market automaker partnership situation is station uptime. When automakers partner with a network, they want to make sure that when drivers get to that network, they're able to charge freely. So for example, BMW, Audi, Volkswagen, Lucid, who else? Porsche, Hyundai, do they have a thing? I don't think so. Oh, maybe they do. Hyundai, Kia, I don't know. But all of the companies that offer Electrify America, free charging, that's how Electrify America makes their money as a business, right? All they're doing really is there's a lot of back-end conversations that go on here, and I don't want to pretend to understand any bit of this business, but there must be some conversations about station uptime. And the automakers want to know, hey, when my customers go to your chargers, are they working? According to the Electrify America app, every single one of these chargers and every single one of the chargers in Loveland, Colorado are up and working great. According to their app. So Electrify America wants to rate station uptime by, I believe 50% of the station is online and available as 100% uptime, because you can move stalls if you get to one that's not working. However, there's another problem, which is how do you actually report uptime properly? None of these stations will activate. There's nothing we can do. We've tried it on 4 different cars now. The guy in the e-tron who posted, Kona, Nero Electric, Polestar, and now Rivian. We know it's not the car. We know it's the chargers. However, those stations are being reported as online and available working right now. So station uptime, there is a huge need to actually quantify what considers 100% uptime, what considers 50% uptime, and what metrics are you monitoring to consider a station's working or not. Because I'll tell you, whatever's going on right now, and this isn't unique to EA, this is across the entire industry, it's a little bit of the Wild West. Nothing's really that great. So I'd be really curious to hear your input as to how to quantify a reliable charging situation, other than just having me drive around to all the freaking charging stations and telling you why they're broken. Because it's getting old. I really don't want this. I don't want to do that. I want to say, oh, let's go buy electric cars and go on road trips and have a blast. But, I keep coming to the same conclusion. Buy a Tesla or buy a gas car if you go on long trips. If you drive around town, if you like a little bit of adventure like I do, if you make videos about when chargers don't work, and hopefully, it's entertainment for some people, it's buying advice for others, well then, that's great, but it's not the future anyone wants. So let's go try some other chargers, as I've probably bored you enough, but it's 2:51 in the morning. Just drank a Red Bull. I just can't believe that these chargers weren't winter tested. That's the only conclusion I can come up with. They all don't work. It's insane. Dang, there is some serious snowfall here. For those of you who have seen some of our testing, you would know we've been to this station many times to do testing, this EVgo unit. EVgo specs 2 kinds of fast charging hardware for their new stuff. These are the Signet stations. Each one of those cabinet power shares 2 units, very similar to the Electrify America balanced charging. And then actually my favorite EVgo installs, look at how stiff the cables are. My favorite EVgo installs are the Delta units. Those rock because it's 1 unit and they can do simultaneous charging. Hold on, let's get this plugged in. Actually, I don't know. There might be too much snow on the Rivian side for it to even connect. Let me reconnect that there and see if we can get it going. Okay, Jude is now connected. I also like how they all have names. I think that's pretty nice. Let's see if Jude can give us the juice. Yeah, the Rivian port just got full of snow. So just blew it out, plugged in, went perfectly, connected great. And then I think we'll try this Delta unit one here. Try out 2 different brands. Looks like we are charging. 19%. Love the nerdy details. Yep, getting the juice, no problem. Instant plug in, connect, activate. This Rivian doesn't support Auto Charge Plus, but I made a whole video about that recently. And there we go, getting some juice. 110 kilowatts. Not everything. Oh, 113. Don't know if it's the truck or the charger limiting the power, but at least we're charging. It's better than being stranded and having to get a hotel. I'm surprised the e-tron owner didn't come over here. We're only about, I don't know, 10 minutes away from that charger that faulted. Let's see. Truck is not giving any indication as to why it's going slower. Now we're up to 140 kilowatts. I mean, that's still not the end of the world, is it? I don't know. We'll let this charge up just a little bit more. I'm curious to see if we get even more power out of it. But hey, we're juicing 350 amps right there. Some chargers derate in the extreme cold. Some trucks, of course, the battery pack in the truck was preconditioning the whole way here. It may just not be fully warm enough to take everything. And judging by the fact that it's slowly increasing in power, makes me think that, okay, maybe the battery in the truck is just frozen brick. We've been driving through snow and slush, and it's between -8 and -10 degrees Fahrenheit outside. So still, I'm very pleased with this. Let's plug in the Delta unit and get that thing going. Yeah, the amps are increasing, so I don't think it's a charger limitation. I think the truck is just frozen. I have just plugged in Pietro over here, which is one of the Delta 100 kilowatt units. These are like the city chargers, Bolts, Leafs, bunch of smaller EVs that don't need the crazy fast chargers should use these. They also have the Tesla connector hooked up to the CHAdeMO adapter. Basically, this is just it's just a CHAdeMO adapter in there. That's what it looks like. And let's see, connecting. We're thinking, are we going to work in the cold? Pietro, come on. I don't know. It's taking a little while. Contactors are going. The truck is still white. Truck's going green. Connection successful. No noise. And it's charging 61 kilowatts. Wow, I've never actually used one of these. They make literally no noise. You normally hear a fan, you hear like power electronics. That is dead silent. But it's charging. And let's just confirm that the truck's charging. Yes, it is. 81 kilowatts. Again, we're at pretty low pack voltage right now, but damn. Okay, so EVgo Delta stuff and Signet stuff works in these temperatures. Let's go try ChargePoint's CPE 250 and their Express Plus. I'll go over to that new station where they just installed the big boy charger that I filmed a video with just a few days ago. Look at this. I've never seen such a quiet charger before. Delta makes some good stuff, man. I am a fan of these guys. I gotta reach out to them. This thing rocks. I love these city chargers because they save the fast chargers for the cars that need it. Wow, even the touchscreen works in the cold. Okay. My ears are about to freeze out of my head. They're about to just fall off. In you go. Let's close the port so we don't have a snow situation like last time. Okay, off to ChargePoint. Let's go see if they work. And now it's the CPE 250's turn. Same cop that was here last time, actually. Cable, pretty easy to maneuver for not being a thin liquid cooled situation. Let me just get it into the, still a two-hander in these cold temps. Oh boy, come on, handle. And in we go. Let's see if the CPE 250 can handle the cold. These things are usually pretty stout. They don't have that much power. That one's the brand new one. I'm actually really looking forward to trying this out because this is one of like 3 or 4 installations in the whole company and probably the coldest charging session one has ever seen. Take a look at this, charging just fine. Should do about 80 kilowatts or so max. Yeah, seems reasonable to me. 79. How about that for a guess? I know these chargers pretty well with Rivian because I have to use them all the time for our range testing. They really don't give that much power. So, okay, that's everything that the CPE 250 can give us. Very good. Let's juice it on the ChargePoint Express over here. I have a whole video on this unit live a few days ago, actually. So go and take a look at that one. Really nice cable management, 200 kilowatts at this particular one, 500 amps. Yeah, should get pretty close to what the Rivian wants with the cold battery pack. Let's do it. And in we go. This one has the Phoenix contact cable. Really nice handle. Just makes it so much easier to get in and use. Handshake process is starting. And yeah, let's see how this goes. This is actually one of the very few ChargePoint owned and operated stations. They own and operate a few of their own, and this is one of them, which is why it's no surprise that they have one of these new units. Now, what's interesting is I've definitely plugged it in and it says waiting for EV. So perhaps it didn't get a great connection, or perhaps I plugged it in by pulling on this little tab. So let's clear out the charge port. You can see it's icing up in there pretty quickly. Let me try another connection. Well, it is a few minutes later now, and while the ChargePoint CPE 250s work, those things are kind of workhorses, the ChargePoint Express is not giving us as much luck. And I would say, okay, maybe it's the cable not recognizing that it's plugged in, but it definitely goes to this screen when plugged in. I kind of experimented with it, and it says waiting for EV. And I was like, oh, maybe it's not getting a good connection. So I thoroughly cleaned the connection. I actually reset the truck to make sure that it wasn't anything on the vehicle side, and it is for sure on the charger side not wanting to connect. So I don't know if it has to do with cold weather or if it has to do with just this being a brand new unit out in the wild. And it was a little buggy for me the other day on the Model S. It's all in the video. You can see it faulted out during a charging session for me. So not to make excuses for ChargePoint, that really sucks, but at least there's 4 other stations here marked as available that we know will work. But yeah, I mean, unacceptable just to have brand new hardware not working. Here's another case of it, which it's like, come on, just like test this stuff, make sure it works, make sure it works with multiple vehicles. Maybe they never did IO testing with Rivian and there's some weird thing going on here. I should come back when it's warm and see if maybe it's a truck problem, or if I had my Model S again, if it would charge just fine. So too many variables to know at the moment, but I would call this one a 50% success rate. And the one I wanted to use, the fast one, doesn't work, and the truck just faulted out, just went red. So yeah, okay, well, still not the end of the world. We could charge if we needed to. Let's head over to a Electrify America station again, but this time with the Signet units, not the new ones by SK Signet, but the actual Signet ones with the green glow around the outside. Those are pretty popular. Let's see if they work in the cold. Welcome to a Walmart. That can only mean one thing. Yes, we are at the Signet stations, and right off the bat, we're not looking great because we're actually pretty low on charge. We're nearing 14, 13%, something like that. And the truck's starting to limit power because it's getting cold. That's unavailable. And oh no, look at this. This one's unavailable too. Holy smokes. Okay. So let's hope that this one is available. Aha! The Chatimo's not for some reason, but this one says it's good. So maybe we'll get lucky and the Signet units will come through. Let's hope they work in the cold. I mean, these things are pretty stout in my opinion. I like these stations. I kind of wish they'd use them more, but if they're going to be that unreliable, again, the crazy thing to me is everything we're kind of playing around with today is pretty much brand new hardware that just went in the ground. What's it going to be like in 2, 3, 4 years? The supercharger that I used today had 1 stall down out of 8, and it was installed in 2016. And this was installed like just a couple years ago. So Whew, wish us luck in the future. And at -9 degrees Fahrenheit, the only plug working at this entire installation is charging us, and it is ramping up. We are at 10% state of charge. I think I'll charge it up to, I don't know, 50 or 60%, something like that to get home, as long as we get a good charging session, because that is, yeah, that's reasonable, 110 kilowatts. That's probably what the truck's asking for with such a cold battery, to be honest, because it was limiting regen and power. I think it's hard for it to keep itself warm in these temperatures with so much snow hitting it from the underside as well. Cool, so Signet works. I'll have my wrap-up thoughts to you on this whole trip in just a moment. It is 4:10 a.m., -11 degrees. I think we should do some more testing. The truck's not saying it's slower due to charging station limitation, but I do know there's another station that we actually haven't tried yet, and that is the Delta 350 kilowatts unit at EVgo, and there's actually one on the way home. So I say we unplug from here. If for whatever reason it doesn't work, we can always come back here. Yeah, 7 minutes, only 14 kilowatt hours, 113 kilowatts with a battery this big. We ain't getting anywhere really quick, but again, it may not be the charger. It could just be the truck with such a cold battery. The Rivian won't precondition when the battery state of charge gets super low. So I hope we're high enough for it to precondition on the way to EVgo. I'm gonna drive the piss out of it over there and just full send it and warm up the pack as much as I can. Let's go see if those units work in the freezing cold. And for the last charging test of the night, this unit, which we haven't tested, these are going in everywhere. These are awesome. Oh, the cables are holy smokes, this cable is frozen. It's -11 out right now. Well, I gotta put the phone down. This is a two-handed operation. Oh. Come on. Come on. That's crazy. Okay, connecting to your vehicle. Good. Do that, please. Hopefully it got in there. It was a little bit of a crunchy connection. I worry that this brittle plastic and cables are just going to snap in the cold. Okay, let's hope it connects. I'm waiting in the truck. I'm not going to wait out here. It is cold. And we are charging, so that gets a pass, but we are charging pretty slowly. Slower than on the Signet. Curious to see what the charger says. Actually, usually they'll have a max amperage output, and they could just derate in the cold. I would think the truck could take a little bit more than this. It says, yeah, max 250 amps. So they can work in the cold, but they really derate. You see this? Normally it's 540 amps. But right now the charger is derating right there. So it's maxing out the charger. Oh, well, that's an interesting test. Something good to know about these Delta units. They work in the cold. They just slow down a little bit. But, okay, this is kind of the last charging stop before a big stretch on I-25. So that's kind of it. Let's wrap up the video. Well, that was a fun night. We are approaching 4:30 in the morning now, and I have to do those leafed cold gate tests over at the EA charger where we started. So let's talk about this in broad picture really quick. Electrify America is, of course, the nation's, I would say, leading fast charging network in terms of corridor charging. Electrify America, EVgo, ChargePoint, Green Lots, etc., Blink, all the ones. They're really good in inner city or urban areas, or select areas have them more than others. EA is really everywhere. So that is why I put so much focus on their network compared to others, because it's the one we actually rely on to get from A to B as electric car drivers, non-Tesla. And the fact that they are speccing brand new hardware and ripping out the old units to solve problems, but introducing worse problems. Again, the older units would have some issues charging from time to time, but would typically just charge really slow when they had a problem. This won't even connect in cold weather. And you know, it's the holiday week right now. Everyone's traveling for Christmas. Christmas is in just a couple days. Cold blast across the country. Really curious to see if you guys are seeing this problem out in the public. The problem is there's nothing you can do. There's no like trick, like let's unplug, replug, try a different station. There is no alternative other than finding another charging station out there. And so that's why it's just I think, a total disaster. So let's talk about the other stations we tried today. We went from the 2 different Electrify America stations with the new stations that won't activate, with all vertically BTC integrated. We went to then EVgo. We tried their Delta City unit, connected, activated, worked great, dead silent, nice charger. First time I've ever used one. Then we used the Signet EVgo charger, which didn't have an amperage limitation, at least that we felt, and ripped along, and it was great, no problem. Maybe it had a 350 amp limit, something like that, but the truck could have been cold, who knows. It doesn't actually tell you the maximum output like the Delta units do. Then we went to ChargePoint, and the CPE 250 thankfully works great. Those are very popular in Colorado. Again, they don't output that much power at all in any configuration, but at least they work, and that is always top priority. The ChargePoint Express that we used, a little bit disappointing, it didn't work. I'm not sure if that's just a Rivian communication issue with the charger, and the charger would have worked fine with another vehicle, or if it was the cold weather. Either way, we shouldn't be having these conversations, and everything should be tested. And if the charger isn't rated to work in the cold, it should tell the end user, hey, I can't work because I'm cold. Then we went to Electrify America Signet. We found 2 of 3 stations completely offline. The one station that was online was only half online because the Chatamo was down. And again, there's other Signet stations I could have chosen from. Some probably worse, some probably in better shape. It was the one on my way home. I didn't even check the status. I didn't know they were down. But now that I think about it, Michaela actually was there recently, and she mentioned to me, like, hey, they were all like not working. So I was like, oh, when I arrived, I'm like, oh, we're low on charge and it's cold. I hope this thing works. And then we came over here to the Delta 350 kilowatt charger, but we learned, yeah, while it works in the cold, man, does this thing really derate in cold temperatures. We're doing only 85 kilowatts right now on the Rivian, bouncing between there and 100 kilowatts somewhere. And a little bit of a mistake to come over here from a speed perspective, but learning about the charger is really good information to have. And ultimately, where does that leave us? Where does that leave everyone? The answer is it's the Wild West still, unfortunately, and getting worse, in my opinion, after tonight's experience. The fact that there was multiple cars just in a very small region of the country that were booking hotels, that were finding alternative charging methods because these new stations went offline, tells me someone didn't do their research. And this is just speculation. I don't know what goes on inside of EA. I really don't want to know what goes on inside of EA. How bad does it have to be to deploy stations at a mass scale that don't work? Now, we could go after ChargePoint as well and say, hey, that Express Plus thing doesn't work. But I don't think they've actually sold those stations to anyone yet. I'm pretty sure they're only at ChargePoint owned and operated installations. I could be wrong, but I know there's only a handful out there, and it's still a little bit of a test phase, and they're working on things. But still, unacceptable behavior. What am I trying to say? It's like I'm talking to my dog. Unacceptable behavior. Just sound like a grumpy old man. I don't know why charging has to be so difficult, and I don't think people realize the importance of having reliable fast charging. So at the end of the day, if reliability for road trips is your top priority, do not buy a CCS vehicle today. Just point blank. I cannot recommend it to you. I love certain cars that are CCS equipped. I love the BMW iX. I love this Rivian R1T. I love the Mercedes stuff. And I will own CCS cars because I like a little bit of adventure while I'm traveling. I think it's cool. Plus, it makes a good story for you guys, for me to document the current state of electric infrastructure. At the end of the day, there's not much infrastructure going in the ground right now because we're waiting for all this government funding plans to get approved for next year, and that's a whole nother topic for another day. And we certainly aren't seeing much improvement from Electrify America at all, sadly. I wish it was a different situation. But it's not. So there you have it. Buy a Tesla, buy a plug-in hybrid if you'd like. I'm not really into those. Buy a combustion car if you need a long road tripper. I don't know how Tesla can do it so well. Let's just hope they open their network. That would solve everything. even if it's a little bit slower on most cars than you know, the rest of this stuff. And don't come at, you know, the last point here is everyone's going to say, oh, the North American Charging Standard connector, the NACS connector, that's the answer. All that is just the actual physical plug, the cable, the station activation, the station it's connected to. That wouldn't change at all. And we have podcasts on that on our podcast channel. So a long video, an annoying one, for me at least. And yeah, let's I keep saying let's hope these companies get their stuff together, but right now I'm all in on EVgo. These things keep working for me. I've had great success recently on EVgo, and I can't wait for them to build out their corridor charging network with pilot fuel stops. That's, I think, once we have an alternative to Electrify America, I'll feel much better about the state of electric car infrastructure. But right now, we'll look back at this in 10 years and either say, this is why electric cars didn't work, or this is why electric cars almost didn't work. But we don't know the future. See you in another one soon. Bye-bye.